Okay, picking up video number one cut off. I had to delete some things, too much storage being taken up, but I was saying that I can't accept that it's just an accident, or these very smart, scholastic, academic people, and especially scientists, don't know exactly what's going on, that I've figured out some holy grail that can't be figured out by anyone else. And like I say, especially having studied human development, having a degree even in human development with a concentration in psychology. I mentioned that's a science, and in science you study everything. Everything. You get grants from, I was a research assistant at Case Western Reserve University, funded by a grant by the National Institute of Health to study. I have a twin study to figure out the difference in the environment in terms of what happens, what's different in the environment that produces maybe one of the twins to have a certain reading abilities and the other not. And then by knowing that, we can rule out the genetics, and we can know what is happening in the environment. And these studies are going on, millions of dollars poured into these studies every year, but we're not, the problem is our situation as people just isn't taken seriously by us or anyone else. And again, my point here is not to go into all the problems, because I'm also into, I guess what's called metaphysics, and I feel like if you focus on the problems, we expand that reality in our life, and that's all I see being done most of the time, is a focus on the problems, very little focus on the solution, and if any, really. And so I want this to be a solution-based video, but I have to cover the problems to substantiate why I'm talking about solutions, why I believe it's imperative that we take a different approach to our mental health. And again, that meaning abandoning the philosophy, and that's all it is a philosophy. There's no scientific findings that somehow being black makes you strong, makes you stronger than anyone else. You are just as fragile, just as sensitive, and I submit, because of trauma, more fragile, more sensitive. And so we can't wait for anyone else to take care of you in the way that you need to be taken care of. You need to take a proactive approach in things that have to do with relaxation. It's been found that African American people, and really when I say that, I use that loosely. Like I say, I believe really that African people are the same people throughout the diaspora, throughout the world. So a lot of these things apply to people throughout the world, really. But there's a special situation for those in America, born in America. But the apartheid situation in South Africa produced very similar results, and potentially other places. Yet they a lot of times still have their language and their a lot of their culture, but just overladen with a lot of self-hatred. But point being is that we have to be proactive, and so the way that I've done this, as I was mentioning, was by being proactive about getting massages, being proactive about going to the gym, not just to build muscle, but for relaxation. I was going to say there was a study that showed that black people, even when they're asleep, are not reaching deep levels of sleep. It's almost as if they're always on a heightened alert response system or pattern, and this has severe cognitive and physiological mind and body ramifications. And anyone that cares about people, cares about human beings, should care about this subject matter, irrespective of if you are of what your ethnicity is. As I've mentioned, I think Tim Wise does a wonderful job of explaining, as a so-called white person, explaining what white privilege is all about. And I think it's effective to hear some of these things from non-black people, because it does validate it for that we're not just crazy. It's not just in your mind, you know. It's being dismissed as if you're just the victim. You're just playing the victim role, and this is very insensitive and very disrespectful approach. And so, instead of rallying for someone else to respect you and to take you seriously and to validate your suffering, I'm suggesting that we do that for ourselves, and really take really schedule time for relaxation, nature walks, maybe fishing. Like I said, for me, swimming, the spa, the sauna, the whirlpool. There was even a thing when I was in Chicago called sensory deprivation. I think they may have gotten away from that terminology so much, the implications, I guess, of deprivation or whatever. But the point is, it's a very relaxing experience. A place called Space-Time Tanks. I'm not sure if they're still in business. This was years ago, many years ago. I've been on this for many years. Also, of course, our diet and really looking at what's going to be really soothing to your system and helpful to your system, as opposed to just tasting good. But Space-Time Tanks, you know, it's you can look it up in terms of what sensory deprivation is about. But literally, you get into a tank that's filled with water, like salt water, so you're suspended on water and you're floating, and all of your muscles relax very differently than if you were laying on a bed where there's resistance against your body, but where you're actually suspended, floating, and you're able to. And then there's no sound. You can't see anything. You can't hear anything. You can't smell anything, taste anything, touch anything. You're just floating in water, and it's a marvelous relaxation experience. And so I'm just, like I say, making this video because I believe that it is imperative that we become proactive about our mental health. And the best way that I know to do this is by taking relaxation seriously. Of course, as I've mentioned in so many other videos, meditation is also key to accomplishing this task. But if you're not into that, if you think that's new age, maybe that has spiritual, that has certain overtones, new age overtones or whatnot, and you may think that it conflicts with your religious tradition or whatnot. I don't know. If that's not your thing, then hey, other things. Point being, we must take relaxation seriously in healthy ways, not through sex and drugs and alcohol and outbursts of anger and things like this that we think, or maybe not think, but that far too many of us are trapped in utilizing. So I think I'll really end there. That's all I want to say about that subject. It's not something that I've seen out there or anyone talking about, and it's something that I've felt and lived for years. So I want to share that with whomever may be able to benefit from that perspective and knowledge base. Okay, thanks so much. Be well. Thanks.